dragons have so many personality traits. With greater intelligence comes a bigger personality. They are, in many ways, larger than life. Many dragons have their own perks and traits that they can be defined by, and some are sadly much worse than others. But in my opinion, one of them stands out a bit more in this regard. One loves to be as friendly as possible. These are the crystal dragons. They share a lot of similarities with the silver dragons in this regard, with the largest difference being what they like to befriend. See, silver dragons prefer humans for a myriad of reasons I've already talked about, but crystals befriend, well, everyone. But due to some clear reasons, it tends to mostly be other dragons, as it's, well, simpler for one to communicate with their own kind. See, they make a lot of allies with dragonkind, and this tends to usually be with other gemstones or even metallics, since they are a lot more, shall I say, agreeable. While it is not unheard of that they do so with chromatics or even factionless dragons, for want of a better term, particularly the white dragons, as they share quite a lot of common, but this is a rarer event. But I should not discuss other dragons too much. For the most part, I wish to speak about crystals for today, and so I shall do so. For a start, they are very superstitious as part of their culture, believing in all sorts of fairy tales and fortune-tellings. They commonly take stock in the like of visions, and most of them experience them in some way or another, if albeit in a very small manner. It is for this reason that they take a big importance to the like of folk tales and myths. They also love gazing at the stars to determine what they mean and all that they can know about them. Constellations, or really any sort of shining light, are absolutely beloved by them. And fortune-telling is sort of a secret passion of theirs. While I say secret, they offer it to almost anyone they meet, even if they're vaguely acquainted with them. They are also known to do so for their friends behind their back, should they worry for them for one reason or another. Some might view it as almost a paranoia in a way, but I think it's more of a reassurance that anything can go wrong with your friend, so you wish to know about it to help them. And of course, it's just fortune-telling, it's not always the most accurate, so in reality I don't really think they're hurting anyone. Mind you, all this talk of mysticism might lead you to believe that they are magically powerful, or in their case psionically powerful. Well, they are, like all dragons, but by dragon standards, they're actually quite weak, in both a physical sense and their more, air quotes, magical gifts, which means they could be easily flawed by even a moderately skilled chromatic with just their magic alone, so they really do not stand out in this regard. It is pretty easy to say that they are the weakest of the gemstones. In fact, come to think of it, this might be one of the main reasons they try a bit too hard to make many dragon allies, as in a way it's probably compensating for their own natural weakness. But then again, they do always keep their word with their allies, and help them regardless of if they was asked for, or if they'd actually even be helpful, even if they're sticking their neck out to do it. They very much keep to their debts and to their word, and a lot of dragons, hell, almost everyone, really respects them for it, myself included. Oh, but I should get to the topic of what they keep in their hoards, as it's always something fun to discuss, and might even help you out in a pinch, as offering the dragon a gift might even save your life, so knowing what they prefer is always going to help you in this regard. But there are also some of you that might be the hunter of dragons, so you might want to know what loot to expect. So, for a start, they love all gems and coins, nothing out of the ordinary there, but they do have a preference when it comes to gemstones. They have two favourites in this regard. That is crystal quartz, because it's the gemstone that they are, in a way, based on, and because it is very shiny, and for the most part they love reflective colours. But also, their second is diamonds. Not just because of their value, far from it in fact, no, because of its healing properties. See, diamonds are often used to heal and revive the dead, and crystals, being both superstitious and, shall I say, more alternative in their lifestyles, love the healing aura that these gems seem to imbue, but will often be willing to give up said diamonds for those in need. Not freely, mind you. They usually need to make sure that you're good of heart, or it's for a good cause, or perhaps they just want the value back for them. But they will gladly help those in need. They are one of the few types of dragons that give out their hoards. They also love hoarding religious items, usually those of life or healing god, for many reasons. Oh, and also some things like light gods too, as they love the auras around these divine beings. I actually wouldn't be too surprised if they actually pray to the many gods of this world, not just the god of gemstones or the god of any other dragon really, but also to gods of light and healing. Why not pray to multiple gods if you want all of their favour? Crystal dragons are also known to dwell within cold regions, but unlike other cold dragons that dwell within ice caves or mountain tops, crystals like being out in the open, within the large and vast fields of snow or ice, building structures akin to castles within the Sea of White. I think most dragons actually leave them alone for this reason, as they view their land as unappealing, and most crystals are fine with this. But they do still have effects on their region. For a start, the skies around their domain are always clear, as to see the stars at night clearly. It's actually quite beautiful. And of course, like most gemstone dragons, the gems of their namesake grow randomly and in abundance within their lands, that being crystal quartz. They also shine beautifully in the snow, by the way, a sight to behold should you ever travel to the snowy regions. Oh, and they can actually see through them, as well as all ice within their domain using their psionic powers, so that's another thing to keep in mind. Oh, also, all wildlife within their domain thrives, and you will find all sorts of animals that are usually quite rare in the wild, often wandering around and being not only unabashed, but calmer. While it can happen to see a polar bear, I would still keep your distance, but for the most part, the wildlife there doesn't really follow the normal rules. And lastly, their natural positive healing energy also affects those who would rest within their land. Your wounds will heal faster should you take a more shorter rest. It is as if their natural want to help others seeps into the very land itself and helps you, and it heals you. But even with all of this niceness being said, I should let you know how they fight, as it's very useful general knowledge that a lot would like to know. So, they can teleport like most gemstone dragons, but they can also burrow into the ground, something that works in great combo with this ability quite well. They don't really use it as much as other gemstones, but it's something to keep in note. They are also immune to the cold, which should be little surprise given where they lair, but their natural mysticism and healing nature has also made them immune to the likes of holy attacks and radiant damage. It's as if the light within them is more so absorbed. You should also note that they have very powerful psionic abilities, almost on par to the other gemstones. Like I said before, they are a little weaker, but they're still formidable beyond count. But I should discuss their famed breath attack. See, theirs is known as a scintillating breath, and what it does is it shoots a blast of blinding light, hurting those it hits. But the most fascinating effect it has is it actually heals the dragon when they use it. See, as the light and energy is burst out from them, they reabsorb it in a way. The tale I have of a crystal dragon is a shorter one, and not actually primarily about them, as I've only ever met the one, and I travel with them for one brief adventure. See, the party I was travelling with at the time needed to revive a long-dead hero to help us. With our powers combined, we were not strong enough to deal with the task at hand, which was hunting one of the most legendary and powerful beasts known to mankind. The monstrous Tarask. We had heard of a legendary barbarian hero known as Corin, the Ender of Evil, who might be up to the task by his own hands without our assistance, so we fought to aid him. But he had died long ago by a very powerful demon who not only killed him, but scattered his corpse around the world. It took us some time, but we managed to collect the pieces and cast a resurrection spell on him. But to our shock, it did not work. We later learned, well, I say we, I was the one solely doing all the research in an ancient and dusty library covered in spiders and cobwebs, while my companions were having a party on the beach, but that's beside the point. I learned that very few are actually able to revive one as powerful as this. It has something to do with the person being revived having a soul above a 20th level, whatever that means, I don't quite understand it. But the closest one to us with this capability was a crystal dragon named Kargamonir, the Herald of the Stars. So I informed the party, and we journeyed onward, meeting the dragon within their lair. They weren't that hard to find. They were in quite regal covered fine silks, and polymorphed into the form of an orc, believe it or not. We came to them and explained the situation, but to our surprise, they were not only willing to help us for free, but were jumping for joy at the idea. They actually had a bit of a fandom towards the old barbarian. He even wanted to help us in the fight, and so we performed the holy ritual to awaken the long-dead hero, in order to fight the creature of myth known as a Tarrasque. But that, I'm afraid, is a story for another day, one I shall get to at some point, I'm sure. Thank you for listening to my tales. I'm the Ashspawn. Feel free to leave a like, comment, or subscribe. It would really mean a lot to me. But, till next we meet, fellow traveller, have a good day.